everybody, Ramey here, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through creating a basic PowerPoint presentation from start to finish. This tutorial is designed for the absolute beginner who wants to open up the software and is not sure where to really start. So I'm going to show you some of the basics. You can kind of have enough to create a basic presentation and get going and get more advanced and create some really cool stuff. Because believe it or not, PowerPoint is a pretty powerful piece of software once you get into it. All right, so let's begin. So on my screen, I have opened up PowerPoint, and you can see right away we have all these different kinds of presentations we can start from, different templates. I'm just going to choose a blank one so that we can get started. All right, so the basics of PowerPoint. So on my left-hand side of my screen are all of my slides. So slides are like each screen that the user is going to see are going to be on the left-hand side of the screen here so that I can see all of them. In the middle, this large area on the right middle side is basically what I'm seeing on this one slide right here that I have selected. And this is where I edit and work on it. You can see when I click in there, something happens. All right, and then at the top are all of our different options. And let's go through using some of them to create a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so first of all, when I'm creating a presentation, I have to think like a presentation is a story. So I'm going to be telling a story. Now, I'm not going to go through best and worst design practices because I did that in another video. But what I'm going to do is just give you some basics so you can get going. So you have to think about, what is my story? What am I trying to tell? That means there's a start, some kind of intro, there's content in the middle, and then there's some kind of ending, conclusion. So when I'm creating a presentation, I usually think, what's my beginning? How am I going to motivate my audience? What's my start? That might be as simple as having a slide that says, today's presentation is about XYZ, the planets, or whatever it is. The idea is that you have some kind of beginning, some kind of entryway into your presentation. So I'm just going to create a sample presentation here. I'm just going to call this surfing, just because I like surfing, and most of my demos are usually about surfing when I'm creating a presentation. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a couple new slides. When I click on this new slide button, notice that there are a few different templates to choose from. I'm going to choose title and content because that fits what I'm doing most easily. And I'm just going to create a couple slides. I created 4 slides. So now you can see I can very easily click from one to the other as I'm creating them. All right, so now I need to think about my next slide. And that might be like, here's what you are going to learn today. Obviously, I'm creating this to be very generic, but you might want to, tell the audience or students or participants or whoever is going through your presentation, hey, here's what we're going to go through. Surfing basics. Then my next slide is going to start to be my content. And I might say like, surfing 101. And I'm going to have some content here. And then finally, I'm going to have a conclusion or an ending. However, I'm ending my presentation. Thanks for watching. Any questions? Okay, so now that I have the basic idea of what my presentation is going to do, I know my story, I kind of know the flow, I have most of my content here, I can start actually creating my presentation, because just getting the content here isn't enough. I need to now add the design. I need to start doing stuff to it. So how do I do that? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go to Insert. So I'm up at the top here. I'm going to go to Insert. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about, well, what do I want to use for this presentation? Do I want to add any pictures? So I might click the online pictures. Maybe I have a picture that I want to use, and I'm going to click pictures here, and I'm going to open up a picture that I already have. I do have some surfing pictures here. I'm going to pull this up and just add it. And this allows me to just, I can add any picture that I want to from the web to my actual presentation, which is pretty cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my transitions. I'm going to click transitions up here, and basically what transitions are, it's from going from one slide to the next. So I'm going to click, if I click fade, I'll click on 2 and I'll click swipe. When I play that, notice what it's going to do. You can see the demo on the screen. It's a transition from each screen to another. An animation is simply like if I want a piece of text to fly in or out, like I might select this piece of text and just click appear. And you can see it formed here. And I'm not going to go into animations in depth in this video, but basically it allows something to happen so that whenever I can do a fly in, you can see the example. So when I go to my presentation, this is going to fly in. So now that I've shown you how to do some of the basic things, you can do a lot of other things. Like when I go to insert, I can insert different kinds of objects. I can insert video. I can insert different kind of word art. There's so many different things, but I've got my basic presentation done. One of the things I do like to do is go to design, and this is where you can choose a background, like where I can start to format this a little nicer. And in fact, what I really like to do is go to design ideas. And I'll go to my first slide. Notice when I click on this design ideas, that's in design ideas. Look at the intros that they give me, some samples. Oh, look how much nicer they've made it. I really, really, really love this feature in PowerPoint. You know, and I like that right there. It looks nice and clean. I'm going to go to my next slide, and I'm going to click design ideas. And I'm going to start to be able to pick out what do I want each slide to look like. Now, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want like it to have a nice standard template like this. And I click a template and all the slides are going to look the same. And then I can go in here and make it some little changes so that they all have the basic like look and feel, but I want my slides to mostly look the same. Okay, so I've created my presentation. This is how you create a very basic, minimal presentation in PowerPoint. There's a lot that I didn't cover here. Because it does a lot more. So there are two final things I want to show you, but I just want you to know that it does a lot more. This is designed for just the intro person that is trying to, you know, start with PowerPoint and wants to know really like how do you do some of the basic stuff. In order to play my slideshow, I'm going to go to slideshow and I can click from beginning, or down here at the bottom of the screen, I can also click the slideshow button, and I'm going to click that. Let me go to the beginning. So we're at my first slide, which is surfing. Second slide. And all I'm doing is clicking the mouse. And notice how I had that animation fly in. Surfing 101 and conclusion. And when I click again, it's going to exit. All right. So the last thing I need to do is I need to save my presentation. So I'm going to go to Save As. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to save this in that surfing file. Called surfing. Perfect. So I want to show you what the file looks like. So now that I have it saved, let's close it. Open up my folder. Here is my file. It's a PowerPoint file. Now, if I want to send this to someone, like let's say I want to open this up at, you know, wherever I am to do my presentation, I need to go open up this file and play it. Now there are a few other ways to save, like file, save as. I can save as a PDF file. I can save this as images if I were to save as JPEGs. So there are a couple different kinds of options for you, but I just wanted you to have a general idea of some of those different options. So that's how you create a really basic PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.